Good morning, all our esteemed clients. It's always a nice time to be with you every Monday on an executive breakfast market briefing. The session is aimed at giving you insight into the financial market to ensure that you have a profitable week of trading in the stock market. Let's see what happened last week in the market. The market started with a bearish state on Monday, while on Tuesday there was a rebound of bull state. On Wednesday, the bull solidified himself, while on Thursday, the bear resurfaced again. What does this imply? It simply tells us that capital market moves with the trend of the economy indicator. On Friday, the equity market still closed on the negative state, extending the market bearish trend. A total turnover of 2.259 billion share worth 31.17 billion naira was traded last week by investors, in contrast to 2.65 billion share value at 49.97 billion naira previously week. All share index lost 4 basis points, closing at 100,022.03. Previously, it was 100,063 naira 0.32 points. The market negative performance was as a result of selling pressure in Access Corp, Custodian, Dangote Sugar, First Bank Holding, and 21 other stocks. The year-to-date settled at 33.77%, while the market capitalization closed at 56.58 trillion naira as investors' wealth decreased by 23.23 billion naira. Let's see the performance across the sector. 3 out of the sectors in our preview depreciated, while 2 appreciated. The insurance was the worst hit, which was 1.33%, while the banking sector also lost 0.70%. Finally, the consumer goods also lost minus 0.25%, while oil and gas gained 1.59% and 0.12% respectively. Market breadth measured investor sentiment through gainers/losers ratio that increased from 1.23x, which was previously 0.96x, as 32 stocks appreciated, while 26 stocks depreciated, and 65 stocks closed flat. What do we expect this week as we wait for the half-year financial result to impact to the market? Let's go straight to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, if you look at the graph before you under the index market for all share index, there is something you must note about this graph. This graph, you see the y-axis and the x-axis. While the vertical one is the y-axis, while the horizontal one is the x-axis. Now, the vertical one can stand for the value of the stock at that particular time, because we are dealing with the all share index of the capital market. While the horizontal, that is the x-axis, is starting for the number of weeks we have done in the capital market. Let's look at what happened. We are talking about the entry and the exit. There is something we must note in our mindset when we are entering. We should be able to enter at a reasonable price because we are looking for profit. When are you entering? Are you entering at a higher price? If you are entering at a higher price, you are making a mistake. That's why this executive meeting or briefing is very good. We must look at when we are entering. If you watch very well, the person is entering at 8 naira. If you watch on the first week, on the second week, there was appreciation. It got to 12 naira. On the third week, it got to 27 or 28 naira. You see, as the week was progressing, you see the movement of the stock going up. When you go straight for the 5th week, you discover that it got to a climax. That the person or whoever is supposed to have existed, but maybe it was still expecting the market to still go up. But along the line, on the 6th week, the market dropped. As it dropped, you cannot see on the vertical side that the price has reduced. But the person has not exited. He now watched. Along the line, the market now turned again on the positive note. You discover that he now get to 45 naira. So he now decided to exit, which was a very good time. because you look at when he entered at about 8 naira, he's exiting at about 40 naira. So when he exited, he now has to wait and watch the trend of the market. The market now went down on the 8th week, followed by this 9th week. It also went down. The person decided to enter again. So the point of exit and the point of entry is very important in the capital market. When are you exiting? You are exiting when you have gotten a reasonable percentage of gain. It could be that you have bought at a particular price, you are gaining over 40, 45%. You should not be greedy enough. We should be able to exit immediately. When the stock drop, then you take position. You will now watch along the trend. The market now got to, on the 12th week, it now got to another high rate of 40 again. And the person did what again? He exited. Along the line, if you watch down, he now got to the 20th week. The person is now entering again. When we are taking position, we must allow our account officer to advise us rightly. That's why we normally give weekly recommendation. We will not give you any recommended stock that does not have the potential of gaining, because the essence of doing business in the capital market is to gain. Where we enter and where you exit is very important. If you enter at a higher rate, when the stock is about to start turning, it will go against you. Please, let's go to the second slide. Thank you. Now, if you watch the second slide, we just decided to summarize what has happened in the banking sector. If you watch very well, you have the positive side and the negative side. When it crosses the horizontal, you discover that which is the x-axis, is going to the negative region. It started, look at how the banking sector started. It started as 10 naira per value. The person entered and it started going up. When it got to 15 naira, the person decided to exit. You cannot watch. If you now minus 10 from 15, you cannot see what the person has gained. When we are entering any investment in terms of stock, we must be ready to exit when you have gotten to a reasonable level. You now watch the market. On the 4th week, the market has started dropping. It got to the 6th week, it dropped. It even went beyond the rate, the marginal rate, which is 0. Is that if you see on the 10th week, it's already losing 10 naira. You start discover that the person decided to enter at that spot. As it's entering now, the market has turned. So it will keep going up again until it got to on the 13th week. You discover that the market has got back to that 15 naira per value. So the client or the person decide to exit. When the person now exited, you will not have to watch the market trend again. The market trend will determine when you are entering and when you are exiting. You must also note when the stock is gaining, maybe it's gaining 1 naira, it's gaining 3 naira, it's gaining 4 naira, you can see there's this strength in the gaining. But when you discover that the gain have started reducing, the gain 1 naira 50 kobo, I assume yesterday, the next day is gaining 5 kobo. Is gaining 1 kobo. It is already telling you that this market is going to have a turnaround. So why don't you exit immediately and also watch the market trend? So it keep moving. On the 15th week, you discover that it has crossed the marginal point. Now you now drop to minus 15, which is the entry point. Now the person or the banking sector decided to take another position again on the 15th. You will now watch it now move on the 18th week. And if you look at it, it's around 8 naira. So it keep moving like that until it gets to the final week. What we are emphasizing in this graph is when you are entering. When you are entering, determine when you are exiting. Please always take advice. Always ask your account officer, is it the right time? The recommended stock is there to solve that solution. The next slide, please. Thank you. He said we can eliminate fear from our investors. We must acquire knowledge, which we are doing now presently. This section is another way of acquiring knowledge. You can decide to buy books. It's also very okay. Knowledge is a powerful tool against fear. Fear is a major challenge. Some people has good fun to take position because of fear. You say, let me just use 2 million. If he had used 5 million, he would have gained more better. So knowledge covers the issue of fear. Fear of losing money or fear of missed opportunity entry Yes, people say, I don't want to lose money. Or when the opportunity for the person to enter, just as we have recommended stock, as time goes on, we are scared. Why are you scared? We have checked the analysis. We are not saying it is good to buy. Why don't you kill the fear? Let's calm down and watch out another opportunity in close range again. It is when you miss the first opportunity, just calm down, follow the instruction of your broker, then there's another opportunity that is very close. Market volatility. Whenever market takes a downturn, our natural instinct is to panic and sell. With knowledge acquired, there will be inevitability of market fluctuation. If you have the right knowledge, you know that market must fluctuate. If it doesn't fluctuate, it's not a market. There must be up and down of the market. When it's done, you have to be calm and let your broker advise you rightly. The founder of modern day investment, Benjamin Graham, famously said, the investor's chief problem and his worst enemy is likely to be himself because of fear. To overcome fear, we need to change our mindset. First, understanding that investment isn't gambling. Please, let's note that very, very strong. Investment is not gambling. It is about making calculated decisions based on research and analysis. We normally go straight to analysis before we give our recommendation. The next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, you can see the areas of recommendation we have given. All these recommendations have been checked with research. And looking at the trend, we have a lot. Most of them are undervalued. We are advising all our clients to take position. There is one I want to cite example. MTN Nigeria is 200 Naira. I want to tell you that that stock will have a rebound. Why don't you invest in that stock? I believe as you reinvest in that stock, you will enjoy it very well. Don't be discouraged. That's why we are here to guide you. As you take position, you smile. We have many of them. You cannot finally pick the one you want to invest. Expectation and projection for the week. We anticipate cautious optimism in the stock market, driven by resurgence of investors' confidence. This could lead to investors selling equity that has witnessed large increase, while others might try to offset their losses by purchasing position in undermined stock. Yes, we have to look at stock before we take our position. Finally, we anticipate that this week, local bourse will close in a positive region. So this is another way to do it. Now, I want to finally say that we must follow the recommended stock. As we follow it, definitely you will do well. I will finally stop here. My colleague will be taking the other part of the investment, which is the fixed income investment, before we finally go to question and answer. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Frank. This is Steven speaking from for the fixed income part. Welcome to the first week of the H2, the second half of the year. From the market's outlook for the week, we can see that over 800 basis points was gained by the open repo and the overnight rates, respectively. I would say 7.89% and 7.53% specifically. Now, funding rate closed higher. Like I said, system was highly liquid. So it closed on a negative note, rounding up the previous week at 175 billion and now a negative of 1.4 trillion. This actually, as we all know, that the banks are the major players in this market. Closing the week, the very bearish note, and then for the treasury-based market, we can see it close on a bearish note. Also, treasures on the tenors, largely induced by tight liquidity conditions, and consequently yield advanced, and we all know that when the yields advance, prices tend to come down. And also for the almost secondary market, also bearish sentiment was seen across maturities. And then later this week, we'll be having an NCB auction, 166 billion to be raised, not 228 as indicated on the slide, 166 billion to be raised. That will be on the Thursday, the 11th of July. Looking at the stop rates for different maturities, 91 days and 182 days and 364 days, we see that there's a slight increase at the 364 days. It's a good time for investors to take position, as we see that rates are actually moderating, as we always said, and we've been saying from inception that rates will tend to moderate as we go on. Next slide, please. All right, so for the bond market, we can see that it's also closed on a bearish note, about 3 basis points week on week. For the long end of the curve, it was actually flat. As you can see, the major bonds traded 2025, 2027, 2033, and 2034. All these are the short tenors. Just 2053, which is the long tenor, was traded actively last week. And also, looking at the yield across the benchmark yield, advanced 2 basis points, closing the week on 18.77%. For the FGN Eurobond market, closed on a bullish note, and we can attribute this to many factors. We know the US is preparing for their election, and this can also be a factor to that. And also, looking at the job employment statistics, say it increased over the week, which is also a major indicator of how this market, felt over the week. And then also, not forgetting the outcome of the UK election, another party taking over power. We may not know directly how that will affect the market, but I tell you, those also affect the market. Looking at the curve, like I said, 3 basis points for the short term, while for the long term, close flat. Then for the FX, over the weeks and even for the months, for the year also, the FX has always been on a negative trend. Looking at 1,505 naira for last week, and this week is closing at 1,509 naira, more than 29 basis points decline. And so we've seen over the months that this tend to moderate around this figure 1,500 and 1,509. We'll say that looking at it, we believe that based on the structures the government are putting in place, this would actually adjust, because if this does not, it cannot encourage foreign investors, which is major the thing the FX is actually to address. Next slide, please. And then for the outlook for the week, looking at the NTB market coming up, we see that that would make the market to be a little bit busy one more time, because as people prepare to come into the NTBs, and those who auction might not be taken would actually come into the secondary market to play. So generally, we would see that sentiments will rover around that. And then for the bond secondary market, we expected that will trade in line with system liquidity. And then for our products, we will always emphasize this, that the LF5 is a good product to invest in, and also the LBF, to those who don't have high risk, those who can't take high risk can also key into LPF by also enjoying the other parts of the fund. And then for the LDF, those who have dollars can also invest in that, as they earn a spread, rather than keeping it in the bank where they earn no spread. Then for the Gazelle, fixed income, fixed tenor, very competitive rates over the markets. And then for the Eurobond market, we know it cannot be overemphasized, coupon, biannually. Thank you. All right, so we'll move over to the question and answer segment. All right. Okay. We have a question here saying that for clarification, GTB has been on your buy list for a long time. What would determine when to exit from the stock?
Okay. Thank you very much. For the GTB, if you check our recommendation for this week, we change our buy to hold because it has moved. And don't also forget that all the recommendation we have been sending across, the current price and the target price vis-a-vis the fair value. So if you check the fair value of GTB, we place it at around 53 and it's closing to around that 53. We expect profit taking in GTB. Will determine the exit price. It's your price based on the analysis we have projected in that graph. Some people bought GTB at 25. If you had bought GTB at 25, you can actually exit and pick your profits. It will still come down. By today, we're also going to attend their fact behind the public offering. So they'll also be able to give more insights about the price of the public offering. But we place it on hold because it's also moving close to the fair value, and we expect a profit taking in GTB because of the disparity between the price of GTB and Zenith. You see some people also moving to Zenith, selling their GTB. So we're going to give further advice in the course of the week on our daily stock recommendation or stock to pick. That's the reason why we have changed our buy to hold regarding GTB. Why other ones, the like of Access Bank, Stanbic, and Zenith Bank and UBA, they are still under buy recommendation. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Someone is also asking question. What is the update on Access Bank loading IG? Is it still taking off today? Just as I have said, GTB is presenting part behind the public offering. Tomorrow, we are also going to host the management of Access Bank at the stock exchange. We also want to present fact behind the public offering and the right issue. So the offer has not opened officially. After the fact behind the public offering and right issue, we will also see further clarification for the corporate units of the NGS as at the time they are going to launch the right issue and the public offering. Okay. Okay, somebody is also asking question. For value investor, do you think exit entry matter for them? Value investors, in capital markets, there are various types of investors. Value investors, of course, they don't usually take advantage of a capital gain, but there's nothing wrong as a value investor if you take advantage of a capital gain. If you have bought a stock at 13 naira, you get to 14 naira, you exit at 14 naira, that's almost 25%. You can also come back and buy more with the sales proceeds. By the time you use the sales proceeds to buy more, that will have increased your holding. And then at the end of the year, by the time you now compare your portfolio management with investors, you'll be better off. So there's nothing wrong for value investors to take advantage of capital gain when you have the right information at your disposal to take that advantage of the market movement.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ag.
Okay, somebody is also asking question. What do you see inflation going at the next MPR meeting? Well, if you look at the last figure of inflation, though it increased at a decreasing rate, is an indication that the MPR is also working as a tool. But we are also expecting more collaboratory effort for the fiscal authority. The MPC, they are likely to meet 25 or 26 of this month to also determine the current rate. But we had already projected that they will still increase the rate, but we are looking at it between 50 and 100 basis points. But inflation is not also moderating as expected. So, but I believe strongly that some of those executive orders they have also passed in the area of the pharmaceutical, reducing the excise duty and other things that are also coming on board, they are going to slow that inflation. But inflation, if it's going to slow it down, we are not expecting a single-digit inflation in the short term or the medium long term. But as it slows down, they also tinker around the words. They will review the interest rates downward, and then you will see fund movement going towards the equities market as well. Thank you. Okay, last one. When are you posting the Fidelity Bank IPO and right offer issue submission request? And we've been sending out emails on daily basis. Our right issue docket is there. You fill it, the public offering. We have been receiving application from all our value customers. Just fill the application for public offering and right issue, send it to our customer service, and then fund your accounts. So we will rate at appropriate time. We're also talking to the professional parties that are in charge of that public offering. But the deadline is 28th of July, but we're encouraging you to submit before the 28th of July. Thank you very much. Okay, lastly, what is your recommendation on Oando? And it's not, we haven't actually captured recommendation because it's still under our review. Though they have acquired Ajib Oil, but don't also forget that there's a pending court case, pending court case between the shareholder of Oando and then the company. They've taken the company to the court, but they're also planning to delay. Court action or court pronouncement will determine whether that company will be delisted or not. But you have to take cautiously because we are not putting in the bad recommendation. We don't want what happened in the case of Dover PLC to also happen, because some people bought at Dover PLC above the market price at that time. Some people bought at Dover PLC above the market price at that time, and by the time they exited below the price they bought it. So for now, it's not under our recommendation. There are other companies under oil and gas sector. The Seplat is there, and then Total Energy is also there. You can invest in some of those companies. Let's continue watching activities around Oando. What is really driving the price is the news that is in the public domain relating or regarding the acquisition of a national energy companies, which is not sufficient enough. We need to conduct further analysis as to whether we can encourage people to buy or people not to buy it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for those wonderful answers, Mr. Taufik. Somebody said, thanks, Frank, for the nice piece and quite interesting piece. Well done. Thank you very much. All right. In the absence of any other question, I want to say a very big thank you to our investors who came to listen to us every morning. And I would say as the news keep coming, we keep rolling it out because we are actually here for you. Because without you guys, we actually don't have any business. So we look forward to a very wonderful market week. Thank you. Thank you very much.